December 26, 2004. The Earth rips open under the Indian Ocean. A massive wall of water crashes down, wiping out entire coastal regions. Hundreds of thousands dead in minutes. But here's what made me go, wait, what? Barely days after this nightmare, two groups who'd been trying to kill each other for 30 years suddenly decide to talk peace. I'm talking about Aceh, Indonesia. Rebels had been fighting the government since the 1970s. For 3 decades, nothing could stop the bloodshed. Not military crackdowns, not ceasefires, not even UN pressure. But somehow, a tsunami changes everything overnight? Come on. The Free Aceh Movement, GAM, had been fighting for independence since '76. These weren't weekend warriors. They had safe houses, weapon smuggling routes from Thailand, even a political wing operating out of Sweden. Indonesia's military declared Aceh a military operations area. Government speak for shoot first, ask questions later. Mass arrests, village relocations, brutal tactics. By 2004, 15,000 people dead. Peace talks. They'd collapsed so many times it was a running joke. GAM wanted independence or nothing. Jakarta would rather burn the province than give up control of all that oil and gas. Then bam! The wave hit. Within 48 hours, literally 48 hours, GAM commanders start talking about reconsidering their position. Indonesian officials suddenly use phrases like new opportunities for dialogue. The tsunami killed 170,000 people in Aceh alone, more than the entire 30-year war combined. Fighting over independence suddenly felt stupid when you're pulling bodies from rubble. But that same tsunami brought something else. The biggest international presence this region had ever seen. USS Abraham Lincoln, a nuclear aircraft carrier, parks off Aceh's coast. FBI agents fly in. European aid workers flood into areas that had been closed military zones for decades. USAID officials meticulously map infrastructure. Necessary for relief? Absolutely. But if you're an intelligence agency trying to access one of Southeast Asia's most sensitive regions for 30 years, you couldn't ask for better cover. Aceh sits on the Strait of Malacca. 40% of global trade flows through there. China's flexing in the South China Sea. This strategically vital choke point had been off limits for 3 decades because of war. Convenient timing? Just saying. Enter Martti Ahtisaari, former Finnish president, seasoned diplomat. His organization got both sides to Helsinki by January 2005. Serious credentials. Namibian independence, Kosovo. But he also had strong NATO and EU connections. His organization was funded by Western governments and foundations. Perfectly neutral mediator? Or pushing a Western agenda? Maybe both. The Helsinki Accords, signed August 2005, were incredible. GAM gave up independence demands for serious autonomy. They'd disband militarily, become a political party. Jakarta would withdraw troops, grant amnesty, let Acehnese elect their own governor. But GAM agreed to stuff they'd rejected for decades. They went from independence or death to autonomy sounds good in 8 months. What changed their minds so quickly? Remember ExxonMobil? Pulling natural gas from Aceh since the 1970s. By 2001, conflict made it too dangerous. They suspended operations. After the peace deal, ExxonMobil resumed operations. Not immediately, that would look too convenient. But as security improved, they were back. Under Helsinki Accords, Aceh got political autonomy, but Jakarta kept control over natural resources. Perfect setup for resource extraction. Those GAM jungle commanders? Within years, they're wearing suits, running for office, complete transformation. Billions pour into Aceh post-tsunami. Not just emergency aid, massive long-term reconstruction. USAID, World Bank, IMF, everyone wanted to help. But reconstruction money comes with strings, good governance requirements, transparency measures, democratic institutions. All beneficial for development, but also creating an environment perfect for international investment. No official quid pro quo, but the timing is suggestive. Peace talks speed up as aid commitments increase. GAM's position softens as reconstruction contracts get announced. Coordination or coincidence? Before you cry, conspiracy? The tsunami was terrifyingly real. When you're digging mass graves, political grievances take a back seat. 170,000 people dead in one day. That psychological trauma was genuine. GAM had been arguing internally about strategy for years before the tsunami. Younger commanders questioned whether armed struggle was working. The tsunami accelerated this shift, but didn't create it. And there's no smoking gun, no leaked documents, no whistleblower testimony, no recorded calls of oil executives plotting peace. In 20 years, if there was something like that, somebody would have talked. People always talk. So what really happened? The truth is messier than either the official story or conspiracy theories. The tsunami created an opening. International actors had strategic interests in stability. Corporations made bank from peace. But that doesn't mean someone was pulling strings from day one. What we saw was different, competing interests that accidentally lined up perfectly. GAM wanted legitimacy. Jakarta wanted to end an expensive war. The international community wanted regional stability. Corporations wanted access. For once, all these agendas pointed in the same direction. The tsunami didn't cause the peace deal, but it created the perfect storm where a deal became not just possible, but inevitable. 20 years later, Aceh is peaceful. Former rebels run provinces. Old enemies do business together. Kids have grown up knowing only peace. By any measure, Helsinki was a success. But the questions remain. In a world where humanitarian crises open doors for intervention, where peace processes are managed by international organizations, and where economic interests shadow every negotiation, what does genuine reconciliation even look like? Maybe the real lesson isn't about conspiracies or coincidences. Maybe it's about understanding power, how it shifts, how it's shared, and how it sometimes disguises itself as something else entirely. The tsunami brought peace to Aceh, but it also brought a crystal clear example of how the world really works when the stakes are high. And that's a story worth understanding.